Well, hello there, friends. It's nice to see you again, and welcome to episode number 13 of the VIP Collective. Welcome.
Thank you.
To this episode of the VIP Collective. We are very excited to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
So for everyone listening and watching, because we are video as well, we are with Shealyn Angus of Shealyn Angus Events. So super pumped to have you here today because we worked together recently.
Yeah.
And that was our first time.
I think that was our first time, which actually is so shocking to me.
Bizarre, right?
I know.
But because we've known of each other, obviously, for years.
Yeah.
And seen each other at shows and things like that. It's always been fun. I think something I always notice about you is you're just always smiling.
Oh.
And you're what I noticed on the wedding day, you're very relaxed and you're very composed and like, you just got your shit together.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best compliment I could receive.
Yeah, like it was such a natural flow.
That's generally speaking the feedback that I get, which is kind of like my cool, calm, collected, like on the day. But I mean, like that to me is the best way to go about it. Like I don't think I could really function any other way. If I was like anxiety ridden and full of like stress on the day, everyone else would just pick up on that. And
and then it kind of affects. It's like domino almost.
Absolutely.
Especially like a team or something you're working with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, that was definitely something that I picked up on from you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
She's having, like, I could just tell you were having fun with it.
Good.
Like, yeah. That's kind of the vibe I got. So
that's really important to me to hear because I think like when you stop having fun with it, that's when it's time to move on.
True.
Yeah.
Fact. So why don't you tell everyone kind of when you started?
Yeah.
Let's go back and give a background into, let's start with the business. So when the business started, and then we'll go back pre-planner.
Sure. So I started in the industry about 8 years ago, and 4 years ago started my own company. So decided that I wanted to kind of explore more north weddings and kind of go back to my roots, which is being a little bit up north and a little bit more kind of Muskoka focused. And so I decided to kind of do my own thing and went out on my own, and that was 4 years ago. Kind of crazy when I think about it.
Yep.
But that's when I went out on my own and did that, and it's been fantastic and the best decision and wonderful.
So where were you prior to that? So 4 years ago prior to that?
Yeah, so I worked for another company in the city, which was amazing, and it gave me the opportunity to kind of hone my talent and learn and build relationships and get my feet wet and really, really establish my roots before I was able to go off and kind of be confident in going off in that decision. Even before that, I did some internships and kind of worked with a couple different companies and learned the ropes and swept the floors and you know,
legit started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
That's important though, because I mean, it's one thing to just wake up one day, maybe take a course, and then be like, hey, I'm going to be a planner. And then it's another to actually work under people and learn from people the process, right?
Totally. I mean, school is fantastic and academia is fantastic. But in this industry specifically, especially on my end of things, it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. And it doesn't even have to be anything. I didn't go to school for this at all.
Right.
I just knew that I had a passion for it and I had some sort of experience in it and really just kind of watched and learned and soaked in every bit of kind of the real life scenarios that I could before knowing that I could take it on myself.
Where did you go to school? And what did you go to school for? What was the transition? Tell me.
See, this is the weirdest part of my life.
I can't wait. Tell me more.
So I was an actor. I grew up acting and singing. That was my trajectory. I was going to be a stage star. And I think that's kind of what gives me my charisma and my kind of ability to be that calm, cool, and collected. But I went to York for acting and for collective collaboration, which was a new program at York in their theater department called Creative Ensemble. And we did kind of directing and acting and producing and building sets and lighting and producing and all the above.
Very
cool. So that was kind of where I wanted to go with things. And as one does in the world of theater, I was also a server. And that kind of led me into fine dining and then catering fine dining and then being a banquet manager at a fine dining restaurant. and then went into events.
So when you were a banquet manager, were weddings held at that? And
No.
Was it that?
No, it wasn't on that scale. I was working for a restaurant down actually for MLSE outside the Air Canada Centre. And so it was much more corporate.
Okay.
It was hosting VIPs and dealing with, high-end celebrities and dealing with sports people and kind of running that kind of event show.
What celebrity did you see that you were like?
Can I say?
Yeah. What?
I feel like it's been long enough.
That you were like almost in faint mode. Who was one that you've seen?
Okay, so I don't fangirl. I don't fangirl.
But who got you excited that you saw?
Oh gosh, there were tons of people. I mean, sports people never really got me excited because I grew up with a dad who played professional sports.
Oh,
so I was never like sports people. I was like, whatever. I served Childish Gambino, Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Who at that point was on, what would it have been at that point? What was the show he was on in like?
Oh, I have no clue.
I want to say like, anyways.
I didn't even know he was on a TV show.
Oh, yeah. Before when he was Childish Gambino in like the beginning. And now that he's like Simba and the Lion King, I'm like, yeah, served him. Yeah. We go way back.
That's cool. I love Childish Gambino.
So he was cool.
Okay.
Lots of sports people. Like all the Maple Leafs would come in every night. All the Raptors would come in every night.
Yep.
So we got to know them quite well and would go to games. And it was just such a fun kind of...
Wow.
Yeah.
You had a fun little stint there, right?
Yeah, really fun. Really fun. But that's kind of what got me into wanting to kind of stay in the kind of hospitality industry, but have a little more control over it.
So how did the weddings tie into it?
So I just all of a sudden one day was walking from an audition actually to my serving gig and called my mom and said like, there's no way I'm getting this acting role. I'm going to my serving job. What am I doing with my life? And we had this kind of like hash out session of what I loved to do. And one of them was working in these events. And so my mom said, why don't you just call the event companies that you admire in the city and kind of pound the pavement a bit and, work hard to get where you want. And so I literally called every single event coordination place in the city. And at that point had no idea who they were. Just called. And used some of my acting skills to get my nose in the door. And one of them gave me a chance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so were they doing other things than weddings or was it corporate?
No, it was mostly weddings.
Mostly
It honestly just kind of happened like that.
It
just happened to be an event company that did weddings. And it became such a passion that I kind of never knew was mine.
Right.
And then it turned into it.
So did you shadow them for quite a few years and then they started giving you your own?
Yeah, that's kind of how it was. I kind of worked my way up. I was always hungry. I was always looking for kind of that next opportunity and always asking for more, always asking to do bigger stuff, more responsibilities. And I think the squeaky wheel kind of got the oil and I started taking on. And I remember the first time I had a client come in and it was going to be like my meeting to take.
Yeah.
And thinking, I don't have a single event to show them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make them believe that I've got 100.
Yeah.
And I did, and I booked it.
Wow.
And the feeling of like adrenaline and confidence that came from that made me feel like I could do it for them. And I'm a total proprietor of the fake it till you make it mantra.
Yeah.
And I think that it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And if you can give yourself that confidence to think you know what you're doing, you'll eventually know what you're doing.
But you did know what you were doing to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
It was the actually getting them booked that you essentially thought you were faking it just because you didn't have a portfolio.
Yeah.
But you actually weren't because you had all the experience still.
Totally.
Up to that point.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was the first wedding? Was it at the hall? Like, was it at a hall?
No. So the first wedding that I booked was the AGO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And it didn't end up being the first chronologically. I ended up booking it first. And then the first wedding that I actually did was at the Four Seasons for the former assistant of Jean Chrétien.
Jean Chrétien.
Jean Chrétien. Jean Chrétien.
Jean Chrétien. Okay. The former assistant. Was he there?
Yes, he was. I have a picture with him, myself, and Sarah Rayleigh, who used to work at the Four Seasons. Yeah.
So that was a big day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
we don't start small over here.
Did you have a team with you at that point? Like, or did they give you people to work with you?
Yeah, so I've always had an assistant work with me, regardless of what day it is, and that was where we started, and it's been up from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were starting, I'm always curious how it starts because I know that I'm not a planner per se. I love events. I do love hosting events in a way.
Good.
And I love the fact that I get to host everyone here at the podcast.
Yeah.
But the level of organization that goes into planning an event, like do they start you in admin and then you kind of work into like an event design, or is it all kind of bundled together?
I think it's kind of all bundled together.
Okay.
There's a lot of gray area in event planning. You kind of play a lot of different roles. And so I started off assisting and kind of learning the ropes, and then starting to kind of fill in itineraries for the owner, and then started to, contact vendors and start to learn the ropes. There are a lot of people you have to know in the industry on my side of things. Like as the event planner, as the wedding planner, you got to know all the people.
Yeah.
And so it took years for me to really kind of hone in on who are the people to know. What did they provide? If you're looking for rentals, holy cow, you've got to know a whole catalog. So,
and literally, it was a catalog back in the day.
Literally. I mean, I'm on the younger end of things.
You're old.
So I had the internet on my side. But I remember my old boss telling me that when she started, it was Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
I'm like, you flip through the Yellow Pages, find who you need, and pick up the phone and give them a call.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts, though? And I always, this is a conversation that I've had with some guests. It's just that, the transition from how it used to be, and that you couldn't necessarily put photos of your workout or videos of your workout in a platform other than your website.
Yeah.
It's just, the evolution has been pretty nuts.
It's nuts. And I mean, in some ways I feel like, God, what a simpler time that would have been. If you wanted to get business, your two ways of getting that was through word of mouth or advertising. And traditional advertising, magazines, newspapers, phone books, newspaper. That was the way that you...
Direct mail.
Direct mail.
Brochure.
Radio.
Yeah, radio.
Ads. So it's simple. And now it's kind of this convoluted world of
9 different platforms
and everything.
And be everywhere, be in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a simple time it was.
Yeah. With the dial-up phone and the rotary phone.
And when you push the internet button, how it dial up.
Okay. I need to tell this story. It's totally off topic, but when I grew up, so I grew up in a small town. And as I was growing up, we had a party line. Okay. And you're not going to be familiar with this, are you?
Okay, so I know what a party line is.
You do?
Yeah.
So if it rang twice, it would be for us. If it rang 3 times or something, it was a half ring, and then you knew if it was you or for your neighbor. And you could pick up and you could listen to your neighbor's conversations.
Love it.
Because we were all talking on the same line.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a complete side note. But it just reminded me of that when we were talking about old days.
Well, I remember getting this little butterfly feeling in the pit of my stomach whenever I'd hear the dial-up of the internet starting.
The internet.
I know.
And the ICQ?
Yeah, I didn't have ICQ. I was MSN Messenger.
Oh, you were Messenger. Okay. You just missed it.
I think I just missed ICQ.
You did.
Yeah. My husband had ICQ.
Oh.
But he goes back ways behind me.
I used to just put it on, and then I would walk away from the computer, and I would hear, and that meant somebody was coming online. That's how you knew somebody was coming online.
Like a door
so
knock.
Good.
That's so fun.
And then you'd run back to the computer and see if it was the boy you had a crush on. And you're like, oh.
I asked a boy to the grade 8 graduation over MSN Messenger.
Ooh.
He turned me down. It wasn't good.
Was it the right account?
It totally was.
You never know.
He let me down very easily.
Oh, well, that's nice. The days, right?
I know.
Now it's just text, I guess. But.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, so getting back to it. Okay, so that's the journey up to now.
That's the journey.
So were there what was one key moment that you remembered from working with a previous company that kind of always sticks with you sometimes on a wedding day? Did you have one where you were
something I learned?
Something you learned, whether even they had you guys come with your kits of everything you need and something where you was kind of a light bulb that you saw them do something and you're like, oh.
I worked for Bliss, and Tara O'Grady is the owner of Bliss. I shadowed her for so many years, and I think what I remember was how calm under pressure she was. And I think that I watched that, and I remember being that's the way to go. You're there, but you're not.
Yep.
And I think I took that. But I also organization is so key. And also maybe the biggest thing I took away from working there was how being kind to the people you are working with will always save you. Always.
Yep.
doesn't matter what mistake you make, doesn't matter if you screw something up in a big way. If you are kind and nice and generous to the people who are working with you, they will save your butt. Because
it is a collaborative on the wedding day.
Huge.
And so if you walk up thinking that you are owed something, or like, oh, you owe me, and I'm saying that from like video perspective. If I went up to the AV and said, you owe me an output, like, they don't owe me anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily like that, but it is a collaborative that everyone's working together for.
Oh, it's huge. The events that we are lucky enough to be a part of are so massive that you could never do it on your own. Never. It's impossible. So having the people surround you is so vital. And so important that you treat them with respect and treat them with the care and the knowledge that they will do their job to the best of their abilities, just as you'll do yours to the best of their abilities, to your ability. And the moment that you kind of have that common appreciation and respect, no issues.
Yeah. How do you find that you stay calm? Like, I've seen you and you are very, very calm.
Yeah.
Is it your level of ability to organize and you just are on top of things? Is that what helps ground you?
I think that's a part of it. I mean, we are highly organized. Our itineraries are some of the, and I will like brag about this, best in the industry. Like, they are so detailed. And I always say to my clients that I don't really need to be there on the day. Your day is so organized, it's going to run itself. So I'm basically there to troubleshoot any issues that come up and deal with anything kind of out of the ordinary that maybe we didn't plan for. So that's why I think I can stay calm. I also think I've been doing this for a while. But then I think a lot of it is a little bit of bullshit.
A little bit of bullshitting.
A little bit of bullshit.
Yeah.
Is there? I can look at someone and if they ask me a question, say absolutely, and walk away and go, I don't know how the heck I'm going to do this. And then I'll figure it out.
And that's key, right? I think that's like, that's no problem.
Oh yeah, I got this. No worries. And then I walk away and go, oh my god.
You want to do what?
What? Or like, who didn't show up?
Right.
And then I go, okay, like, cap on. Let's go to work. Let's make it happen.
Do you have any stories that you can share or want to share about anything like kind of crazy that's happened? I just feel like you guys see a lot more.
Sure.
Like of BTS, because we just don't see that.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that...
I had a wedding last summer at a really old Catholic church in Vaughan. And there was no sound system or anything in the church. It was really old and beautiful. And we had an organ player that had been hired to come. And he didn't show up. And so about 15 minutes before the ceremony, which is cutting it really close, like for me to have not already called him. So right away I was like, where is this guy? And why have I left it till 15 minutes beforehand? He wasn't there. And so I called him and I said, hey, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm at Saint blah, blah, blah. And I go, no. We're at Saint blah, 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 whatever other church we were at. And he goes, oh my gosh, I'm double booked.
Oh.
And this was after like confirmations the week of. Like nothing could have been done to see this coming. And so I go, okay, great, cool, awesome. I'm like, I'll plug my iPod in. I'll play the songs off my iPod. No, the church doesn't have a sound system. Right, okay, cool, great. So I found another organ player who got there 10 minutes after the ceremony started. And no one would have known a thing different. 10 minutes starting late is nothing in our industry. And my associate Kelly and I were running back to the church office printer and printing off sheet music from online and running it to the side of the church during the ceremony just in time for them to get to the next song.
Oh my goodness. Like, how did you find another organ player? Were you calling people?
Yeah. So I had the organ player who didn't show up give me a couple numbers, called them, called some contacts that I had, and we managed to get 2 people who were actually available, who happened to be in the area. Like, I don't know what, like, good karma I had in that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, bride didn't know any different.
Did she have a walk down the aisle song?
Oh yeah, and it got played. So we started 10 minutes late.
Oh, I see. You started 10 minutes
in order
late,
for like them to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then she was able to go down the aisle. Everything was okay. She had no clue, and she saved the day.
It was
put fire out.
We figured it out. We took care of it.
Yeah.
And like we high-fived at the end of that ceremony and thought like, how the heck did we do that?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That was one of the times where I thought, this might be it. I might have this might be the challenge that gets me.
I thought for a minute you were going to say you went and played.
I would have sang.
Right.
But like I don't play piano.
Okay.
Yeah. I could have gone up there and done like a real great rendition of something on the radio, but
Good call on the iPad, or sorry, your phone. Good thinking on that.
Yeah, but then immediately in my head, I'm like, what if my phone rings? Like, she's walking down the aisle to some beautiful rendition of Ave Maria, and all of a sudden, like, do 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 starts playing on my phone.
Facebook Messenger, ting,
yeah,
ting, because no one ever sends one message on Facebook Messenger.
It's 7 or 8.
Multiple.
I know.
Well, that's yeah. We just don't see that kind of stuff, so it's always interesting to hear those stories.
Yep.
So I'm always kind of excited to hear them.
Yep.
So tell me about Kelly. So Kelly's on your team.
Yeah. So Kelly is my associate planner. So she came on with me. This is her second season with me, and she's rad. And she has her own kind of group of clients who she takes care of, and mostly day of coronation clients, but she takes on full service clients as well. And she's awesome.
So tell me, because I'm not familiar with day of and full service.
Yeah.
What's the time frame for these kind of? Fill me in on this.
So everyone has a little bit different definition as to what day of coordination is. So we start 3 months prior to your wedding.
Okay.
And at that point, we gather all the contracts of the vendors you've booked, all your vendor details, venue information, and we kind of like slam it together and like help you with any sort of things that have been missed, any loopholes, any timing discrepancies, through the process of 2 meetings, and then rehearsal, and then the day of your wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason that we do it 3 months in advance is just to give us time that if anything has been missed, we've got time to fix it for you, rather than like a 3-week or 6-week period where we're kind of like, no one's available, and
crunch time.
You know, you didn't book enough limos, but now there's no white SUV stretch limos available. So it just gives us that kind of time to be able to troubleshoot anything, and feel comfortable on our end as well. Kind of taking responsibility for it.
So 3 months, and then you'll do 2 meetings. So maybe one initial, and then one closer to the day. And then you guys are coordinating at that point with a lot of the vendors.
Yeah, we pretty much take over all communication with the vendors at that point. And just make sure that their timing is accurate, that the client has enough hours of photography in their contract for the schedule that they've created. And then we do the rehearsal for them the night before, the week before, and then we're on site with them for about 8 hours on their wedding day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And so then what's full planning? So how does that work?
So full planning is the package that I primarily take care of. So clients work one-on-one with me, and it starts anytime in advance of the wedding that you want to book. I mean, I probably wouldn't book anything more than a year and a half, 18 months out. So right from the beginning, we work on design, and I sit down with them and personally design the wedding from start to finish aesthetically.
Wow.
More inspiration things, colors, textures, florals and all of that stuff as well, but they're more inspiration wise. I love to still give our vendors the credit they deserve in terms of their creativity. But we do design, and then we do budget. So I line itemize the entire event for them so that right from the beginning, they can see what it's going to look like and what it's going to cost.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I recommend vendors for them. Really, really curate my selections for each and every client based on personality and budget and aesthetic and kind of vibe. And then I go to the meetings with them, and I kind of walk them through the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do your clients come from referral mostly, or are they Instagram, or where?
So yes to Instagram, more so lately than not. But referrals are huge.
Yeah.
Referrals are huge. Word of mouth between our past clients is huge. And then our relationships with venues is like our number one source of referral.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them curate their own list as well, right? With who they
A lot of them curate their own list, but I think it also comes from, it's like this like cyclical industry where you work in some places and then you'll work there 5 times that year because people are seeing what you're posting.
Right.
And it just kind of comes and goes like that. Like, we're at the King Edward Hotel this coming January 4 times in January.
Oh, wow.
Like, so it just kind of happens like that. We love being there. But I also think it comes with the relationships we've built. So we love working with some venues, and some venues see, you know, why it's important to work with someone as organized as us. And so they like that. It makes their job easier.
Right.
So they'll recommend us. And we're so appreciative of that. That's huge for us.
When you were starting, were you going to networking events, or were there a lot of networking events kind of 4 years ago, like when you were doing your own thing? Because you were already in the industry at that point, so you had some connections.
Sure.
And then did you go to events and like meet people?
So I didn't decide to go out on my own until I knew that my relationships were established. And I went to every single event I could when I was learning and growing in the industry. Every single event. I didn't care if it was like 12-person social that like wasn't really successful for the venue that was throwing it, I would get to know each and every person that was there. And I can't attend all of them anymore, but I still take that approach. And if I go to a social event, I really try to not hang out with my friends the whole time, as hard as that is.
Yeah.
I really try to meet someone new and then like have coffee with them. That's so important.
Absolutely.
So important.
So do you think you can be an introvert and yet be a planner?
I actually think that I'm somewhat of an introvert. My husband would call me slightly shy.
Yep.
If I'm in a room with someone or people that I don't necessarily know, I will be very, very recluse. But I think it's my acting training that allows me to put on a different hat in that moment and put myself out there. But I also really feel like people love talking about themselves. And if I can get someone else talking about themselves, I can just listen.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, huge skill.
Right. And then you don't necessarily have to be on per se.
So yes. To answer your question.
I think that our industry, a lot of people are, for the most part, outgoing.
Yeah.
Because you really have to enjoy people. Like, you enjoy people, I can tell. I enjoy people, and that's why I love doing this.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just, especially in this industry, because you're working with so many different personalities that, like, you got to enjoy.
But doesn't that make it interesting?
So interesting.
Yeah.
Because you get a snapshot into all these different cultures and all these different lifestyles, and it's such a fascinating world.
It's so fascinating. And it's ever changing.
Yep.
Never boring.
Never boring.
No.
So when did you decide that you wanted, so going back to Kelly, I want to tour back to that for a second. Sure. When did you decide that you wanted to bring her on, and like, are you going to continue? Do you want to continue growing a team? Where are we at?
So I brought Kelly on right after I had my wee baby.
Oh, yes, Perry.
Wee baby Perry.
Who I met.
Yeah. Oh, yeah!
Yeah, I met her like 2-3 weeks ago.
Right.
Adorable. She's adorable.
We're very lucky. But anyways, so we had planned our pregnancy. We were really lucky in that sense. But I knew that when I got pregnant and took on as much work as I had always taken on, which wasn't the smartest thing, I was going to need some help. And so I had Perry, and that summer I had another assistant before Kelly, who was equally as amazing and is now working for a fantastic catering company. So I had her, and then Kelly had kind of been flittering around my inbox wanting work, and I just didn't have the right role for her yet. And then after that crazy summer of baby and a full schedule of weddings, I thought, okay, I'm going to bring someone else on. And so Kelly started as an assistant and then started taking on some work that I couldn't complete because I had the baby, and then started taking her own clients. So do I see more people on my team in the future? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like the way that it is right now. I don't ever want to be responsible for a heck of a lot of people. It's not really in my nature. I love where we're at right now, where we're able to still be a really tight-knit team, but take on a couple more projects than I was able to on my own.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no need to go too crazy if you are happy with what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way. Keep whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. I love where we're at right now. And I mean, the relationships that Kelly and I have been able to establish are great. And Kelly is someone who has a lot of the qualities that I have, but a lot of different qualities. She's so bubbly, and she's so, like, everyone looks at her and is like, oh my God, you're the cutest little button I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And then she'll turn around and like tell you to get your work done. So that's such a great, like, she's got such a great balance of that. And it's hard to find people like that. Right. So
sweet and salty.
She is sweet and salty. That is so good.
Get her t-shirt. Sweet on the front.
And salty,
and then
on,
salty
the back.
on the back. Because when she walks away, she's going to get the shit done.
Absolutely. That is her. So yeah, we'll tag team it for a while. Yeah. We're good like this.
So do you have a pretty busy summer? I know you guys are super busy as of the last few weeks from what I'm seeing on Instagram, and then upcoming. And then do a corporate as well? Are you mostly weddings?
So we are mostly weddings, 100%. But we do some corporate stuff as well. And then we do a lot of social. So a lot of baby showers, bridal showers, that kind of thing. Birthday parties are fun.
Those are really taking off. The bridal showers?
Yeah. And baby showers. We did a beautiful, actually, when I say we, I mean Kelly did a beautiful baby shower back in June. It was a wedding. Wow. It was like a wedding.
Really?
It was stunning. Like, it was such a beautiful occasion, and we were so grateful to be a part of it. But we're very lucky to have some legacy clients who we work with on one child's wedding, a second child's wedding,
right.
and then showers and stuff like that down the road.
Do you ever have clients that have businesses and then you've been able to do some events for their corporates?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're kind of twofold?
Yeah. That's actually, I would say the only scenario that we've kind of gotten into corporate was directly through our wedding clients. Wow. So a couple of clients of ours are in digital media marketing, and we do some stuff with that, which is a really, really fun industry to kind of play around with. Really fun and creative industry just as much as ours is. So nice. great collaborations there. Cool. So that's the kind of corporate work we do. We don't do like trade shows or conferences or that kind of stuff. Yeah. More the social side of corporate.
Which is fun.
Which is really fun.
Because you get a little bit more creative on that aspect. Because it's social, so they also want to promote it online.
And drink.
Shots, basically. Because it's,
yeah. It's like their let loose time. Yeah. It's their work giving them permission to party.
Yes.
And that is a fun party to plan.
And giving you permission to plan that.
To plan it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Recently on Instagram, I had asked people to reach out with any questions that they may have for our experts. And a question that came in was regarding planning. And it's someone who's new to the industry, and they wanted advice on how to promote themselves as a day of coordinator if they are new in the industry.
Specifically day of coordination?
Specifically day of coordination.
Promoting yourself is a tough thing. You can do it on social media all you want. I think that's really important. One of the things that I used to do in the beginning when I was trying to get my name out there was write for any publication that would let me, whether it was an opinion piece or anything of that sort. Pitching ideas to publications is not out of style. There are tons of ideas in the industry. They're always popping up. Make it relevant to what's going on right now. I was thinking the other day how I needed to, I'm a little bit late to the punch right now, pitch an idea to someone about planning a wedding in Toronto during the film festival.
Okay.
And what that looks like.
Yep.
That's a very hot topic.
Yep.
So think about those things and like reach out to those online publications and say, here's an idea, or do a styled shoot and then send it to publications. Try to build your portfolio as much as possible and get yourself out there as organically as possible. So just making those connections and putting your foot in everyone's door.
Right. Just being hungry and going after everything and getting your name exposed as much as possible. If it's writing, that's a great tip.
Yeah. There's no quick fix.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we're in this era of quick fix and, I don't know, paying for whatever you want or paying for likes on Instagram or what have you. There's no easy way to get success. You have to work for it. And you have to do the work.
Right.
Bottom line.
Period. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
The other question that was asked that would be in your realm is, are there any apps that you guys are using or the planner group is using?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, to keep you guys organized?
So I don't use any apps for my organization. I know that some people do, and that's great. The only program that I utilize is a floor plan program, which I think a lot of people do. The one that I use is called All Seated. They should pay me for this right now.
Right?
Sponsorship. It's a great program, and basically what it allows us to do is to have our clients upload their guest lists. We'll upload it for them, and then they drag and drop their guests to their assigned seats.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, we can export like food like documents and allergies and all of that. It makes it really easy. That became something I was really hesitant to use any sort of crutch in terms of what I offer my clients, but this to me became like a no questions asked kind of situation because it made my client's life easier.
Right.
So that to me was like, well, then of course. So, but it took me a while to get there, and it took a lot of research to find the right one. But other than that, no apps.
They're probably maybe not necessarily apps, but like you're saying, this
programs.
All-seated program would be exactly what
yeah
would mean for that.
Yeah, like I said, there are some people who use planning tools where they have their clients log in and like input information to fill out an itinerary. We don't do that. Not that that's wrong.
Yeah,
it's just not what we do. We're really organic in the way that we kind of make our clients' schedules, and it's very specific to them, so I don't feel like a template would necessarily work.
Right.
We wanted to host a planner event to kind of get all the planners in the industry, or like more or less all the planners in the industry, together and talk about pricing and issues in the industry, challenges in the industry, why there's this stigma that none of us can talk to each other or be friends.
Right.
because Ashley and Mel and I and like Laura and Ellie and Bae and Alusha, there's so many girls that like we're great friends with, and we get together and like shoot the shit about the industry all the time. But there's this like underlying kind of like, competition that no one really talks about. And so we were like, screw that, and got together with all the planners, and we're like, here's 55 of us. There were 55 of us.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk it out. Let's talk about everything. And so we broke off into smaller groups after having a fantastic lunch, and talked about things like pricing and contracts and how to fire clients and how to, deal with the issues that are in our industry, and then ways that we can kind of band together to push it forward. And it was amazing.
I'm sure it was.
And the feedback was incredible. And, we had people who reach out who weren't able to attend or who weren't invited. And we'll try to fix that for next year, who wanted to be involved. And it just seemed like something that people were thirsty for. And we were grateful to have the opportunity to give that.
Because not only is it probably maybe mostly female, but
it was all female.
It was all female, which is pretty cool in general. Just females supporting females always. But number two is like, if you can't turn to each other, like who else do you turn to that has similar experiences? Why not create a community that's with each other instead of against each other?
Absolutely. And a big thing for us was like, how are we ever supposed to offer a competitive service when we don't know what we're competing against? And it's not to undermine or undercut other people, it's to know what's offered in the industry. And I think that people, if they, are aware of themselves and their experience and what they offer, that they can then price themselves accordingly. But just to know, like, okay, so you offer a day of package too. What is in your day of package? What's your price point on that? Are you getting a good response? Are you booking a lot? Okay, so maybe not. Maybe you need to change your pricing. And that doesn't always mean lowering your pricing. That could just mean offering it in a different way.
Right.
So it was so valuable. And ever since then, like, the communication lines have been, like, thrown open.
Amazing.
And we are talking about so much all the time. Even just, like, shooting Instagram messages back and forth, being like, did you see this? What did you think of this? Have you worked with this person? Have you worked at this venue? What do you think? So it's been incredibly enlightening, and we're definitely going to do it again.
So that was last year.
That was in February of this year.
February. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the best time to do it because you get to do a before season, and then it's also post season. So.
Exactly.
Well, that's nice. And how does pricing break down
for us?
Sure.
Yeah. So we offer flat rate pricing for the most part. So, and I think everything I'm about to say will say for the most part.
Yeah. Right.
Our day of package starts at $22.50.
Yeah.
And that is for like a really standard 8-hour wedding in Toronto over one day with one rehearsal. Our full service package starts at $8,500 for the same kind of thing. One day in Toronto, 10 hours, one location. And then we kind of customize it from there. Do you have an early start? We'll add some more hours on. Do you need extended hours into the night because your parents are worried about people getting drunk? Okay, we'll add hours on for that.
Right.
So it all kind of starts at one point, and then we kind of customize it from there. Yeah.
And what does it mean when you say one location?
So we do one location, ceremony, reception,
Gotcha.
dancing. If there's multiple locations, if it's within the city, no problem. If we're going Scarborough to Etobicoke, we charge an additional fee just because I can't be in those two places at once. So I'm going to bring on an additional assistant who's going to be with you for all your getting ready photos and your reveal, and then at the church with you. And then I'm going to be making sure that everything is good over in the other end of town.
Do you have a travel fee because you're also in like Muskoka and you're up north, so you have a travel fee that's probably with that?
Yeah, so we do travel fees for Muskoka most of the time. There are some situations where if we're doing like a big package and we're up there, there's sometimes where we don't need to because it just kind of gets itself worked in. And then we charge travel fees for Niagara.
Right.
But everywhere else kind of in Toronto proper, no travel fees. And if we are doing a travel to Muskoka, I'll bill it from where I am, which is up halfway.
Right.
So that works out.
Okay, so a question for you, which I haven't asked yet, but I'm curious to know. If you could sit with somebody and have dinner, who would it be? Dead or alive? Whatever you want. One of each.
Oh, one of each?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So alive, Oprah Winfrey. Or, well, I was going to say Michelle Obama, but like, no, Oprah Winfrey. I love me some Oprah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you watch like Super Soul Sunday? And
I used to be really, really into it. I listened to some of her podcasts actually.
Okay.
but like old school Oprah, like I'd like to have dinner with Oprah like when I was growing up. So like as a 13-year-old me, when she was like in the real good like Oprah hair days and like interviewing really cool, like when like Tom Cruise jumped on the couch, like that Oprah.
That Oprah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dead, gosh, I would say my grandfather because I never met him. Yeah. So like none of these.
Your mom's dad?
My mom's dad.
Your mom's dad?
Yeah. Never met him. He died when she was 11.
Oh,
so maybe just to like pick his brain, because I know my mom and what an incredible woman she is. And I've met my grandmother, who also passed when I was really young, but I never met her father. And I feel like I would love to know who made her and why she is the way she is.
Right.
Yeah.
The gene pool.
The gene pool. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oprah, eh?
Yeah.
I'm going to send Oprah an invite and see if she'll come on the podcast.
I think she would.
Right?
Yeah.
She's probably in Toronto every once in a while.
Just casual.
Have you seen her at any of her things? No.
Never.
Is she your gal? Who's your person? Who's your like mindset person? If you're in like a feeling down or something, do you have someone you go to?
No, I'm not like that.
No.
I'm a music gal. I'm real big into music. I think that's like my theater upbringing. Like music does it for me, and it does it for my husband too, which is great.
Nice.
We love making like, well, by we I mean he loves making like family trip videos with great music.
Oh, good.
And I love picking the soundtrack for his videos.
Cool.
So like music gives me the vibes.
I love that you guys make videos.
To be honest with you, before my own wedding, video was not something that was really up on my priority list for myself or my clients. And then we got married, and Mike was super adamant that we have a video, a wedding video. And so we had a great video team.
Good.
And that video is so important. It's so good.
Good.
Yeah.
It makes me happy when I hear that people have something. It doesn't have to be over the top professional. It can also just be a friend or whatever, but at least you have something to kind of capture it. That's so nice.
Yeah, I think still images are beautiful, and I think a good photographer is so key. But there's something visceral about voice and about stimulating another sense. Like, that's actually one thing that we didn't talk about a lot, was senses. And that is so important to my events. If you look at the most beautiful thing you've ever looked at in your life, like you walk into a room and the flowers are just like amazing, but there's something spoiled in the kitchen next door, and you smell that, the room's no longer beautiful.
Right.
And that is so important to me. And like, I've scented weddings before. I flew in candles from a Paris hotel to make someone's wedding smell like that Paris hotel.
Really?
Because it had such a visceral memory for them.
Yep.
And so I think that my job and your job and everyone's job who's working on the wedding is to be sense and memory creators. And so video just triggers that sense of sound, that person's voice, that mom that like maybe passes away in a couple of years, and you have her voice. You don't even have to watch it. You just listen. Like, that's so so important.
Yeah. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
About like the senses. That is something I had never thought of in a million years.
Huge.
And it's so true.
Your sense of smell is your memory trigger. Like, smell of perfume.
It's so true.
I can smell my aunt's perfume who passed away over 10 years ago on anyone that walks by. And it's immediately, I know it's hers. And so why wouldn't we create those moments at the most important day of people's lives? Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
That's a disservice. So that's huge to me. Touch, taste, smell, see, hear. Let's trigger them all.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That was a pro tip, everybody.
Pro tip, heard first. Right here.
Well, we are just about wrapped up.
Yeah.
I want to have you ask a question. So what I like to do is have our guests ask a question to either our future guests or to our audience. Something that you want to know. It can be wedding related. It can be where you guys hanging out these days. It can be anything that you are interested in knowing about.
Like in life?
It can be life. It can be anything.
Oh my gosh.
General statement.
That is like such a big question. My question is, why did you ask such a big question? No, I would, okay, I'll go off of what I was just saying about senses.
Okay.
And to the viewers, what is the one memory that stands out to you from an event, from a wedding? Let's do weddings because that's what we're talking about. What is the most vivid memory that you have of an event that you went to?
And why?
And why?
Love it.
because then I'm going to try to create that for the next person.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you want to know mine?
Yes.
So a friend of mine married a Scottish guy.
Yep.
And they flew over all of his family from Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And so they created an experience for them while they were in Toronto. So what they did was they had their wedding at Casa Loma, the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
They had their cocktail hour at the CN Tower.
Cool.
For only 2 hours. Then we went down to the Steam Whistle and we had the reception. So they were kind of hitting a lot of the key points. We were hitting downtown. And their chef, I don't remember his name, but he created this. It was in October. So they created a menu that was like pumpkin themed.
Yeah.
And so there was like pumpkin soup. And for me, the senses, because I love everything pumpkin and all that, but like I just love the taste of pumpkin. And so they had incorporated all of this. The dessert had a pumpkin aspect, and like the meal was just delicious. And then the experience of doing the CN Tower and doing Casa Loma, like their guests got to see all these different parts, and I thought it was really well done. And I just remember the pumpkin thing.
That's so great, though.
But that's my memory.
And you'll always remember that wedding and those people and why it was so important.
Yeah. And it was just so elaborate because they really wanted to share an experience with their guests. So it was really neat.
Isn't that what it's about?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank
and
you.
I hope you come back anytime.
Yes.
It's an open door.
I'll bring the salty and spicy girl. What do we call her?
Yeah,
Sweet and salty.
Sweet and salty.
I'll bring sweet and salty.
You guys can both have shirts on, sweet and salty.
Perfect. That sounds great.
So come back anytime, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Let's cheers, my dear.
Cheers. Clink.
All right, guys, so that is it for episode number 13 of the VIP Collective. If you liked the video, feel free to hit the like button. You can also subscribe. And as always, we will see you again next Wednesday on the VIP Collective.